Agriculture Week has come to the National Trust property of Cannons Ashby in Northamptonshire. The ancestral home of the Dryden family, the house dates back to Elizabethan times and is surrounded by beautiful grounds. The perfect setting for us to look at utility vehicles. I'm here today with Neil from Polaris GB. Neil, tell me about this vehicle.
Well, this is the mid-size entry level to our Ranger series. It's the Ranger 570.
And what would make this particularly suitable for a setting like this?
Well, for a setting like this, as you can see, as we walked up through the small walk through the car park, there was some narrow gates. Now this is the mid-size, so it is narrower than the full-size version, so that makes it perfectly suited to this grounds. It's also quite lightweight, so it weighs under 500 kilos, so the actual ground that it's travelling on doesn't get turned up, and that's one of the features that Polaris offer on right the way across the range of our vehicles is a Versatrax turf mode, which is a differential in the rear diff that allows the wheels to turn at different times, so it stops the turf being turned up, and it obviously saves on tyre wear and tear if travelling on hard surfaces.
And what sort of engine's in this vehicle?
So this is the 570, it's a 567cc single-cylinder Polaris Pro Star engine. This engine was developed in our Wyoming testing facility, so all the engines Polaris have in their vehicles are produced by Polaris, engineered and designed for our vehicles.
And the transmission, what type's that?
It's a CVT transmission, which stands for close variable transmission. So it's one of the simplest forms of transmissions that you're probably seeing a lot of the UTVs and ATV manufacturers going to nowadays, just because they're quite easy to maintain.
Perhaps you can tell me a bit about maintenance. What's the service requirement?
I mean, the service requirement does depend on which particular model, but it's normally based quite competitively, normally around 100 hours, depending on what sort of service schedule and what components you're changing during the service intervals. But I mean, the key points to this vehicle is maintenance. So to grease all the points out, I mean, it's got grease points that we've added on all the A-arm bushes.
And what's the warranty?
It's a 2-year manufacturer's warranty, and that's from Polaris itself. I mean, Polaris has been established since 1954, and it is market leader in UTVs and ATVs.
As an off-road vehicle, it must have some safety features. What's incorporated in this?
Yes, I mean, every Polaris utility vehicle has safety features, but the one specific to this machine is the side nets. So anything that goes over 25 miles an hour, we do have to legally supply with the side netting. And also it has a added safety feature of the seatbelt indicator. So when there's a person situated in the seat, if they don't have the seatbelt on, it will restrict the speed to 15 miles an hour.
That sounds a very good feature. And what's the top speed of this vehicle?
The top speed of this vehicle is 50 miles an hour, which we find is plenty of speed for the majority of tasks this vehicle's carrying out throughout the grounds.
Can you tell me something about the payload and how much it will tow?
Yeah, so the payload is 454 kilos, so just under half a tonne, which is more than enough payload capacity for a vehicle of this size. And it does actually tow 680 kilos, which is actually more than this machine weighs.
And price, we need to know how much it's going to cost us.
Well, this is a price point entry-level machine, so it starts at under £7,000, so that's for the two-wheel drive version. Now, in comparison, that is the average price of an ATV on the market nowadays. So, I mean, if you look what you actually get for your money compared to an ATV, it's massive. I mean, this model we've particularly got here today is the MD version, so the Machinery Directive. So this is more or less the middle version of the price point, so it comes in at 7,399. We do an EU version that has indicators, lights, number plate bracket and an independent handbrake for 7,899. We also do a fully road homologated tractor version for 8,399.
If we were to buy this one, we could presumably get some accessories?
Yeah, I mean, we are market leader in this market for a number of reasons, and that's our range and diversity of accessories. This particular model here comes with a front screen, a wiper and a roof and a rear panel on this one we have here today. But I mean, the range of accessories, you can spec them up to as much or as little as you need them. You can add doors, winches, extra storage boxes, chainsaw mounts. I mean, the list goes on. Heaters, especially in a day like today.
Indeed. And the ground clearance?
The ground clearance is 25.3 centimetres, so more than enough travel and suspension on this type of vehicle.
Thank you very much, Neil.
You're very welcome, Sally.
I think with that it's time we took it for a drive. This is Chris Smith, the Gardens and Parks Manager at Canons Ashby. He's going to drive the vehicle for us. Are you looking forward to driving?
Yeah, we are thinking about buying for next year in the finances, and so we're going around sort of testing various different models. So today it's a good chance to actually to try the Polaris and see what we think about it.
Let's turn the key. You've been over some quite bumpy ground, Chris. What was the suspension like?
As you can see probably from earlier photographs, that it's actually quite well laid out. The Polaris machines are made for sort of rough ground anyway. And we've been going over the field here, which is old ridge and furrow. It hasn't damaged the surface at all, and it's really quite soft, yeah.
How about the acceleration? Does it respond well to the foot?
Yes, you do have to be careful. You do have a number of selections on the gear lever, so you can actually do high and low. High is probably sort of the best for going from A to B, and then the low would be for sort of applying sort of different things if you had a sort of trailed fertilizer spreader or something like that on the back.
The turning circle, was that satisfactory, and how is it in steering?
Really good, easy to use. There's good settings on to get to sort of the right position for yourself. It looks really good.
Can you see this vehicle being used at Canons Ashby?
Possibly, hopefully in the future. So I'm going around looking at sort of all the different vehicles that are on the market, and I'm very pleased with this one.
What type of things do you see the vehicle being used for?
I think it's one of those items which, the more you use it, the more jobs you find for it. But as you can see, we've got woods around us, lots of trees. We have to survey the trees on a regular basis to record how the conditions of them and everything. And at the moment, we do tend to do that on a paper document. Then you take it back to the office, and then you transfer it to your computer. So this one has a 12-volt socket here, so I could actually run my laptop in the vehicle, so we could actually record as we go around, look at the trees, which would save quite a bit of time. So going out to electric fences we have around the place, taking batteries out, going to check them, things like that. I can see the vehicle being used quite a bit around the property.
Okay, well thank you very much for that, Chris. I hope you enjoyed the experience of driving the Polaris.